Homologation specials are some of the most expensive cars on the planet. The Lancia 037 Stradale, for example, the Lancia S4 as well, a whole bunch of Le Mans homologations cars, etc, etc, etc. These cars are worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds. So I was thinking, can you get a homologation special for less than £20,000? £20,000 isn't cheap, again, on its own, but I think it's a pretty good price to pay for a car that has full racing pedigree and history. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 6 different homologation specials that you can buy for under £20,000, each of them in their own right a special car, and some of them I think should be worth way more money than they actually are. Genuinely, their success in terms of their racing stuff is just insane, and somehow they're still less than 20k. It's insane. If you like this video, do hit the like button. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe as well if you're new here. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Back in the day, Peugeot used to make some properly cool hot hatchbacks. In fact, they were pretty much the gold standard for a time with cars like the 205 T16 and 205 GTI, for example. One well-loved classic from the glory days of Peugeot hot hatches is this little beaut, the 106 Rallye, built to homologate the 106 used in the 1300 class that led the way to Group A class in the World Rally Championship. It has a 1.3 litre inline-4 engine that makes a lowly 90 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in a pretty sedate time of 11.8 seconds. Obviously not setting the world alight, but you don't buy this car to go fast, and you definitely don't buy it for 0 to 60 times, especially considering the car really comes into its own in the higher rev range, making it far more useful for momentum-based rallying. It came in 2 phases, S1 and S2, with the later model having a 1.6 litre block instead, but it was the S1 that was made specifically for homologation in that 1300 class, obviously because of the engine. As a Peugeot sport car, it comes with the Peugeot sport graphics on front and side, as well as those lovely white steelies that are reminiscent of the classic white rallying alloys you see from OZ. It's this car that paved the way for the stunning 106 Maxi that appeared for the Super 1600 class, and it was that S2 car with the 1.6 litre engine that enabled the Maxi. So the Rallye is the car I'm supposed to be talking about here. That JWRC Maxi really is something else. The cheapest I could find one listed for is £12,000, and there are just 136 of them on the road here in the UK as of 2021, so they are pretty hard to come by. Rust is not unusual, and neither is a bit of a ropey gearbox. The suspension setup is also known to wear, particularly as it's a much older car at this point, so it might be time to replace bushes and that kind of stuff. I have never included a Mitsubishi Pajero in any of my list videos, I think. I'm not sure. Anyone who's been banging out my videos since I started might be able to tell me different, but let's get on to one in this video. The Mitsubishi Pajero Evo is an unbelievably cool homologation special, and not just that, it was arguably the most successful and dominant off-road car of all time, even more dominant than the Lancia Delta Integrale. Before we get into that though, let's talk about the homologation car, which is a 3.5 litre V6 engine producing 276 brake horsepower, which takes itself to 60 in 8 seconds. Not bad for a car of its size. It wasn't rallying this was homologated for, instead it was for the Dakar Rally, which Mitsubishi absolutely dominate anyway. The Pajero came 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the 1998 Dakar Rally overall, literally destroying the competition, and helped Mitsubishi on their way to an unbeaten stream of wins between 2001 and 2007. In total, the Pajero Evo has 12 Dakar Rally wins, more than any other car ever, spanning from 1985 through to that 2007 win, which is just bonkers. This is why it's kind of mind-boggling you can get these at a relatively cheap price range still. Plus I think it looks absolutely unreal with those wide wheel arches, short wheelbase, and just generally aggressive looks overall. The 2 fin spoilers are properly cool too, and it's actually quite capable as well with the skid plates and big mud flaps. This is basically as close to a Dakar Rally car for the roads you can get for your money when this homologated special was released in 1997. Somehow, despite all that success, these are still available for under £20,000, starting at around £18,000 at the bottom end, but as with pretty much all the other cars on this list, they are very rare, with just 2,500 made in the first place for homologation purposes. I think all in, this is one of the coolest cars you can own for 20 grand, and I think you'd be gassed driving it to a car event, even if it would be able to maintained as a classic car. Now we're on to the cheapest car on the list, starting at around the £2,000 mark, making it a real contender if getting a homologation special is what you care about, but you're on a far lower budget. The BMW 320 Si was built to homologate the E90 3 Series Saloon into the FIA World Touring Car Championship, and BMW built just 2,600 models of this limited edition. It has a 2 litre inline-4 N45 engine, which produces 170 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds. So again, not rapid, but the purpose again was homologation, not out-and-out speed. The engine has a really cool carbon fibre rocker cover, and though the car is quite slow, the modification modifications to the suspension help with the handling, plus I'm a fan of the motorsport alloys that you can still find on a few models. The rev limiter was also increased to 7,300 RPM, and the noise that came with that was also a positive change over the standard 320i. The SI used in the World Touring Car Championship was actually very successful too, although not as successful as that Pajero. Picking up from where the 320i left off in 2005, Andy Priaulx took the 320 SI to win the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in 2006 and 2007, and the car won the Independence Trophy for non-manufacturer teams with multiple different drivers in 2007, 2008 and 2010, which is no mean feat. Considering the success of the car then and how rare it is, given there are just around 160-ish driving on the roads here in the UK in 2022, it's still crazy to think they are available for so cheap. On reliability, there have been some known problems with cracked cylinder liners, which is never good to hear. Plus, any that haven't been looked after may be suffering from old BMW syndrome, i.e. being a bit ropey all around. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, as I said, please hit the like button. It is super helpful, helps the channel out, helps the video out, all that kind of stuff. Particularly if you want to see more homologation style videos, because I love doing these kinds of cars. And make sure you're subscribed and following Cars with JB on Instagram, where I'm going to try and post a lot more often. This is a Rogue One, and easily the rarest car on the list here in the UK at least, the Mazda 323 Turbo 4x4, of which there are just 6 licensed examples on the road here in the UK, with around 74 of them sawned. And at the time of making this video, one is on sale for £16,500, which is a real opportunity to get into some homologation special history in a car you'll probably never see anywhere else on the roads. It was built to homologate the car into the Group A class of the World Rally Championship and has a 1.6 litre turbocharged inline 4, which produces 148 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds. The 323 was fielded by Mazda Rally Team Europe, the same team that fielded the RX-7 Group B rally car. When Group B was banned and WRC switched to Group A, the 323 was the chosen car with its all-wheel drive layout to try to take from the successes of the Quattros in the Group B era. It had a slow start, not really managing anything special in 1986 and 1988 apart from a second at the New Zealand Rally, plus a win by Timo Salonen in the 1987 Swedish Rally, showing the car's potential. But in 1989 it won a couple of races with Ingvar Carlsson at the wheel, plus there are some other legends in the car too, obviously Timo Salonen, but also Hannu Mikkola, and the car took 3rd in the World Manufacturers Championship. All in though, it wasn't a hugely successful car like some of the other cars on this list, but either way I think it's a properly cool little car, though I may be biased considering I'm an MX-5 owner. Worth noting that in the last 10 years these have shot up in price. They used to be available for under £3,000 literally back in 2013. Taking second on the list is a car that I've included in a few previous videos at this point, but easily one of the coolest stories behind a homologation special you'll ever find. It's the Toyota Celica GT4 ST205 example, which is a 2 litre turbocharged inline 4 that makes 239 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 6.1 seconds. It was a 3rd generation of homologation special Celicas, and though you actually can't get the actual homologation cars, of which 2,500 were made, the purpose of this car remains the same. It was there to win the World Rally Championship. Of the 2,500, 2,100 remained in Japan, and we only got 300 total here in Europe. These homologation cars came with anti-lag, and it was the first rally car to actually employ this. The additional cars that came alongside the actual homologation special is still credited as being a homologation special, but I want to jump onto the ST205 WRC story as I've told it before, but it's worth telling again. In the 1995 World Rally Championship, the Toyota was destroying the competition and was just clearly faster than anything else off the line, in a straight line, and basically anywhere. Despite multiple scrutineers across many events finding nothing wrong with the car, at Rally Catalunya the reason was found, and it was absolutely genius. The restrictor plate, which was limiting the airflow to the turbo that all the cars had to use, was installed with special washers that ensured it looked legal on inspection, but as soon as the engine was on and the car was being driven, it was pushed away to allow for more airflow into the turbo and therefore more power. Effectively, it sits in a legal position for scrutineering and an illegal position at all other times. The FIA found out, possibly because of a whistleblower, and Toyota was disqualified from the season despite FIA President Max Mosley saying it was the most ingenious thing he had seen in 30 years of motorsport. These are listed for a minimum of around £9,000, and of course they are pretty rare either way. I've seen a few at around £13,000, they've sat here for a while. Rust can be horrendous on these though, so worth checking, but again I'd buy one of these to keep and look after for a long time. The final homologation special I wanted to talk about might also be the least successful. It's a Nissan Pulsar GTIR that I've included in a recent video as well. Despite not being so successful in race spec, it is an absolute beast and slowly becoming a JDM icon as well, with its 2 litre turbocharged inline 4 that makes 220 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. In the UK and Europe it was called the Sunny, but I think Pulsar sounds cooler, plus the actual rally car was named the Pulsar, so we'll stick to that. that. I've mentioned before that this car is basically a cheaper hot hatch version of a Skyline, and stock has even been known to beat some Skylines in a straight line. That SR20 Det engine is well known too, but parts of this car remain expensive and there are known oil leaks and cooling system problems. But in terms of rallying, as I said, it wasn't that useful. Nissan Motorsport Europe ran the team and only entered rallies they thought the car would do well at, but ultimately it didn't do well, and after just 9 rallies they sacked it off and put all the money into the R390 Le Mans car instead. The best it did was 3rd at the 1992 Swedish Rally with Stig Blomqvist at the helm, which is probably more a testament to Stig than anyone else, and a young Tommi Mäkinen also drove the car in that season with a best position of 8th at the Lombard RAC Rally. It's a shame it had such a bad rallying record, but it was revived for Group N, with the Nissan Belgium Rally team entering the production car class, where it did have some great successes, coming 1st and 2nd in the Group N Cup in 1992. So clearly the car was capable, just not in the highest levels of rallying. I've seen these listed starting at around £9,000, and you'll be looking at a decent example with around 70,000 miles on the clock for £15,000. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of the list, I'd probably take the Nissan. I think it's a properly cool little car. But on a shoestring budget, why would you not get that 320 SI? What a beast. As always, a massive thanks to the page for their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.